YouTube family. Let's do it. Hope everybody's doing well. Awesome. Left my phone here. All right. Let's get to it. Oh man, one sec here. We back. All right, man, let's see here. I want to jump on real quick, man. I have a conversation I think is super important conversation, and something that is really, I don't know, it's uniquely burdened in my heart, man. It's burdened my heart in a unique way. And I just want to, everybody good? Cool? Right, cool? All right, good. So I really want to have this conversation about this thought that I got. And it really describes my life, but I feel like it describes the lives of so many other people. And I want to just share it with you. Here's the thought, and it's a conviction of mine now. The majority of us, and I say that, I'm not embellishing when I use the word majority. I'm using the word majority intentionally. The majority of us, check this out. The majority of us have callings to what the church doesn't have labels for. If that makes sense, if you just heard what I said, well, hopefully it makes sense in a second, but but if you just heard what I said, I hear you. The majority of us have callings to what the church doesn't have labels for. So when I say labels, I'm talking about titles per se, right? Preacher, teacher, intercessor, pastor, etc. And so when I say church, I don't mean your local church. I mean the broader body of Christ is really limited in the amount of labels that exist. It's like, okay, this is a praise and worship leader. This is an usher. This is a greeter. This is a pastor. This is a preacher. This is a deacon. Depending on your context, this is a deaconess. But here's what I want you to understand. Labels only describe what you've seen in the past. When you see something you hadn't seen before, you don't know what to call it. But that doesn't mean it's not relevant and significant. So the church is limited in the amount of labels it actually has. Watch this. And the labels can be limiting. Because what most of us have been called to, the church doesn't have labels for yet. And there are many people that I think are not passionate. Many people are not purposeful. Many people are not persistent when it comes to pursuing what they sense they've been called and created to do, because it's almost as if we're waiting on the label to give us permission. What a label should be is a description, not permission. There are certain things you have to do and then figure out what to call it later. And I am telling you guys, you cannot get purpose right and get this part wrong. You cannot get purpose right and get this part wrong. One definition of purpose is the reasons for the creation or the existence of a thing. So purpose isn't existence. Purpose isn't usefulness. It is being used for the reason that you've been created. So it doesn't mean, so some people can be very useful, very fruitful, very productive, and it doesn't mean that they're purposeful. Like I can take this phone and I can use a phone as a door stopper. I can put it between the door and the border of the door, and it can stop the door from closing. So just because it's being used in a useful way doesn't mean it's being used for what it was created. The creator had an intention for the door in mind, and that creation for the phone in mind, and it wasn't for it to be a door stopper. So just because it's being used that way doesn't mean that's the way it was created to be used. Just because I'm satisfied with it being used that way doesn't mean that's what the creator had in mind when it created the phone. And this is what can happen for many of us. We can find ourselves being useful, but that doesn't mean purposeful. And here's what I want you to do. I want you to have an honest moment, okay? Let's have an honest moment. No judgment here. I want you to have an honest moment. I want you to look back over your life. And I want you to honestly think about this. Have I been more useful than I've been purposeful? It means, yes, I've done some useful things and I made a difference, and maybe some of that is part of my purpose. But I believe for many of you, there is something on the inside of you. You sense it, you feel it. You're like, there's more. And you're not an overly ambitious person. You're not a person that's seeking out vainglory. You're not trying to be seen. You're not a person that's trying to use your calling to fill some void, emotional void in your life. You're not trying to use your calling because you sense, because you're trying to feel some sense of, or address some sense of insignificance. You feel it. Something in you is telling you, this ain't it. And that's not arrogant. That's not necessarily unappreciative. That's awareness. Somebody just put in the chat, I'm aware. You got to be honest with that. There's something on the inside of you that's saying, this ain't it. There's more. And here's what I'm here to tell you. The church doesn't have labels for what most of us are called to, because most of our callings are uncommon. It means that God's called you to do an uncommon thing, or God's called you to do a common thing in an uncommon way. Did you hear what I just said? He's called you to do an uncommon thing, or he's called you to do a common thing in an uncommon way. And when you've got an uncommon calling, you're creating a blueprint. You're not following a playbook. So you're going to be misunderstood. It's possible you could be criticized, because people have a tendency to critique what they don't understand. What you've been called to maybe something the church doesn't have labels for. Because labels can be limiting, and some of your calling, like my calling, it's a comma calling. It's not a period calling, it's a comma calling. And a comma means something else is coming after this. It is not just this or that, it is this and that. I'm called to do some common things, but I do it in an uncommon way. The stuff I do in the marketplace, it's common things, but I do it in an uncommon way. The stuff I do in ministry, it's common things, but I do it in an uncommon way. And I'm not faithful to my calling if I'm not authentic in the way that I've been called to do it. Because fulfilling your calling isn't just you doing a thing, it's doing that thing or those things the way that you're supposed to do it. You know, we can be called to similar things and be called to do them different ways. So I know you feel it, or some of you feel it. You feel there's more. There's something different. And when you have an uncommon calling and you try to fit it in a common mold, then what you end up with is calling claustrophobia. You feel boxed in. And people that don't understand it, they'll call you confused and unclear. They might label you overly ambitious, when the truth of the matter is you're claustrophobic because they put you in a box that they're comfortable in because maybe the label suits them, but you're not comfortable in. And I'm telling you, you will not have fulfillment, and you will not see fruitfulness in what you've been called to, and you will not flourish as an individual until you step into the authenticity of your uncommon calling. It's uncommon. Darius, what do you mean? I say that because almost all the training that exists for any sort of calling is training for common callings. I'm a proponent of seminary. I went to seminary. I believe in seminary. I taught at seminaries, whatever. But seminaries, by and large, train you for common callings. Most of the training in local churches train you for common callings. When some of our callings is uncommon, it's, hey, I feel called to minister the word, but I'm not preaching behind the pulpit. See that? Yeah, I feel called to make a difference in the world through the marketplace, yet at the same time, there's a call on my life for ministry. But my mission field is the marketplace. Where do I get trained on how to carry out ministry in the marketplace? I want to make a difference, but I also want to make a dollar so I can make a difference with a dollar. Okay, how can I do both of those things? Where's their training for that? If you got an uncommon calling, and you do, I'm giving language to what you're feeling. You got an uncommon calling, and you do. You have you've been called to do an uncommon thing or a conventional thing in an uncommon way. So here is the deal, family. You need three things. You need, number one, clarity. And you're going to need a different kind of help getting clarity because you're going to need clarity on something that's uncommon. If you're supposed to preach behind a pulpit or preach behind a pulpit only, then that would be completely different. But some of you are not called to do the ministry of the word in presentations. You're called to do the ministry of the word in conversations. But either way, I need to be clear on that, and I need to be equipped for that. Where is that? Is that allowed? Is that even in the Bible? Are there people in the Bible that did it this way? So you need clarity. Not only do you need clarity, like after you get clear, you need confidence. Can I do this? I don't see anybody else doing this. Of course you don't see anybody else doing this. And if you're looking for somebody else to do this, you're looking for you. You can't find who you're looking for because you're looking for you. So you're going to need confidence after you have clarity, because it's one thing to have clarity on it. It's nothing to have the confidence to carry it out. And then last but not least, you need competence. Even if I'm ministering the word through conversation or presentation, I need to know how to interpret the Bible right. I need to know how to explain it right. I need to be prepared apologetically to answer questions that people may have. If I'm going into the marketplace, I need to be equipped. When people come to me with questions, I want to be equipped to give them answers. So I need clarity. I need confidence. And I need competence. Because our callings are uncommon. You've been called to do it in an uncommon way. That's not arrogance, that's awareness. And man, if you're serious about this, I got such a burden for this. If you're serious about this, I want to invite you to a free virtual conference that I'm doing February 3rd and 4th. It's called the Uncommon Calling Conference. I want to help you unleash your uncommon calling. In 2 days, I'm going to help you with three things. I'm going to help you clarify what an uncommon calling is. I want to show you in scripture where uncommon callings existed. And I want you to use that as a framework to help you give language to yours. Because some people are like clear, but then they try to do something. They realize I'm not as clear as I thought I was. So I want to help you get the kind of clarity you need so that when we're done, you can actually do something with this. You need the kind of clarity so you can explain to others what you couldn't explain to them about you before this conference. I want to help you get that clear where you're able to talk about you. And there's an exercise I'm going to take you through. This is a working conference, man. This is not just, let me just listen to Dharius. No, we putting the work in. We're going to unleash an army of people that are walking in this. I'm going to help you get clarity. I'm going to help you get the confidence. Well, I'm going to give you what you need to get the confidence, right? And then the competence. I'm going to give you some of the tools that you need to actually carry it out. So I want you to join in. It's going to be people all over the world. It's online, so you don't have to get on a plane. It's free. I've got some additional options for people who want to take advantage of some additional resources we're making available, but the 2 days are absolutely free. I'm gonna give you what I believe to be something that can really revolutionize this particular area of your life. Your calling is uncommon, and you need a conference, you need a room, you need a community, you need content that helps you carry that uncommon calling out. So I want you to register, all right? Be a part of this incredible conference. It's absolutely free. I'm gonna be talking about it from now until February 3rd, man. I'm trying to set people free from the boxes of normality when they've been called to do something abnormal. That's not arrogance, that's authenticity. You've been called to do something uncommon or a common thing in an uncommon way. I know it, because that's the life I'm living. I'm trying to figure this out, and I want to help you. All right, and I love you. I'm out. Back to my video game. Y'all take care.